Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching and learning in Indiana and around the world. More at education.indiana.edu.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company. Fiber Internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk, the state's expanding treatment options for people suffering from opioid addictions. New treatment centers are going up in 5 counties, but some residents worry about the impact they'll have.
How many more people it's going to attract here because of the support, and then the social problems that they're going to bring with them.
Ahead, the pros and cons from communities that have had clinics for years. 4 people have died this summer in Indiana after being caught in low-head dams, and more than a dozen have been rescued.
They look so simple, they look so innocent, but the physics are so strong.
Coming up, why the dams are so dangerous and what officials are saying you should do to keep safe. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. 5 counties across the state are waiting for details after the state recently announced it would expand its opioid treatment programs to their communities. The centers are expected to open within the next year and will offer medically assisted treatment to help those struggling with opioid addiction. But as Barbara Brozier reports, that method of recovery still carries a stigma.
I was always going to the dentist, and I would always get prescribed pain medicine, and at that point in time I absolutely was obsessed with the feeling that it gave me.
Ashley's story might sound familiar.
Before my eyes even opened in the morning, that was the very first thing that I was worried about, was where am I going to get it?
Struggling with postpartum depression, she turned to opioids to numb her mind.
I started realizing, thinking to myself that I wasn't good enough for any kind of treatment, and that I wasn't going to be able to get help or anything. So I started using a lot heavier and using things that don't mix, and I overdosed. And I overdosed 2 different times. The second time was really bad.
That's when she decided to come here, after Ashley's family sat her down and told her her life depended on it.
Here, this place has really saved my life. It really has.
Ashley drives from Austin to the Southern Indiana Treatment Center in Charlestown every day. It's a state-approved opioid treatment center, which offers medication-assisted recovery. People coming here use medications including methadone and Suboxone as part of their treatment.
It helps to at least take care of, in a short time, the symptoms of the physiological disease of withdrawals and addiction, opiate addiction.
People also have to attend counseling sessions and can take classes to help prevent relapses. Clinical therapist Bill Zenner says some of the roughly 1,800 patients the center sees travel from as far away as central Kentucky. So he's happy to hear the state is expanding opioid treatment centers to 5 more counties over the next year.
This is great news because prior to up to probably 8 to 10 years ago, a lot of people in the state, and in many states, if you did not live in an urban area, you did not have access to treatment.
But the news isn't being received as well in a neighborhood just 5 minutes from the treatment center.
They're going from getting them hooked off of heroin and these other illegal drugs, and they're getting them hooked to a prescription drug, methadone, and I don't see where that's helping the problem.
Lizandra and Pete Davis say they've seen more problems in their neighborhood as traffic at the nearby treatment center has increased over the years. There are more people walking down the street at odd hours. One time they found someone sleeping in their driveway, and another time, someone trying to escape the police drove right through their yard.
And he came between our mailbox and the tree.
Their biggest concern is that other people's safety is being put at risk.
One of the signs that we have is our house is protected by the Second Amendment, and fortunately my wife and son both know how to protect our home.
It's a fear Monroe County Sheriff Brad Swain shares.
The treatment centers are providing state-sanctioned highs.
Monroe County is one of the 5 communities receiving an opioid treatment center as part of the state's expansion. The state selected communities based on need, but Swain questions whether the new facility will do more good than harm.
I have a concern that this is going to be a regional office and we're going to have people driving from other areas in their automobiles, driving while going through withdrawals potentially and the driving hazards, and then driving away after receiving their injection.
Bloomington Mayor John Hamilton says there are still a lot of unanswered questions about the planned clinic, including where it will be located. He's optimistic about its ability to help those struggling with opioid addiction, but does have some concerns.
It's got to be coordinated with our providers, our systems, our capacities, and the fact that it was announced without any of that discussion means we got to take a breath, take a pause, and let's talk again from the beginning. Okay, what are you trying to do with this state? What's your goal?
Back in Charlestown, Zenner says he's heard all of the criticisms before.
It is a medication, as a drug, but we have to look at what the result is. They are using a medication, a drug, to reach as a vehicle, as a tool to get to recovery, and can be in recovery while taking the medication. Because it's about living a sober lifestyle. It's about being sober-minded.
He says success stories like Ashley's are proof the center is making a positive impact, not only in her life, but in the community.
I feel like I'm normal now, and I was normal before, but I just feel like I have more potential now that I'm not in the same in the place that I was in.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Rozier.
Allen, Johnson, Vigo, and Tippecanoe counties are also included in the state's expansion. Indiana's Medicaid program will help pay for methadone treatment starting August 1st. The U.S. Senate voted on various plans to repeal or replace the Affordable Care Act. Late last night, the final effort to approve a slimmed-down repeal plan failed to pass. Joining us now to discuss what's next is Indiana University law professor and tax scholar David Gamage. David, thank you very much for being here. So the big question, can we expect to see legislation that brings bipartisanship healthcare reform, and what would that look like?
Well, I think no one really knows what's going to happen from here. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another Republican-only effort. I really hope there's bipartisan efforts, but even if there are such efforts, that doesn't mean they'll be successful. Lots of possibilities going forward, and unfortunately, along with lots of possibilities means continued uncertainty.
Well, and in Indiana, the ACA marketplace lost 2 insurance providers. That was back in June. They cited ambiguity as one of the reasons they left. So does last night's vote increase or decrease the uncertainty of the marketplace?
Both in a sense. The bills that were being debated in the Senate would have all done damage to Indiana's marketplaces in various ways. And there's no guarantee that they would have been adopted. Had they passed, it would have gone to conference. There would have been a great deal of continued uncertainty over what the final legislation would have been and what it would have looked like. So that uncertainty is on pause. On the other hand, we still don't know if and when there might be legislation. The Trump administration has signaled it's going to take various efforts perhaps to undermine the exchanges or at least not fully support the exchanges. So unfortunately, uncertainty is a problem for the exchange marketplaces, and that problem doesn't appear to be going away soon.
And then just what about here in Indiana with HIP 2.0? Do you expect any changes coming there?
So one thing that came out of yesterday's votes is most likely now the Medicaid expansion component of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, will probably remain in place. impossible to predict politics, but that seems likely. So more likely than not, Indiana's HIP 2.0, which is Indiana's customized version of Medicaid expansion, is likely to go forward steadily and strongly.
What options does the president have in healthcare? In
terms of Medicaid, very limited options, unless the administration was going to do something very extreme and purposely try to sabotage operations, which probably not, hopefully not. On the exchange markets, the exchanges, again, are the marketplaces for individuals who don't qualify for Medicaid and don't have employer-sponsored health insurance or Medicare or other forms of health insurance. The exchange populations and exchange marketplaces are on tentative footing. The Obama administration took a great number of efforts to help shore them up. The Trump administration has not been doing such.
We'll have to leave it go for now, but I'm sure more to come later. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
The state issued a blue-green algae advisory at several Indiana lakes this week because of increasing levels of the blooms. As Brad Davis reports, the bacteria can pose a threat to humans and the environment.
Well, foam is present a lot during most of the season on the beach and shorelines. However, with some of the blue-green algae that's reported here recently, there will be kind of some additional foam added to that.
He says the foam is a key indicator of the presence of blue-green algae, a potentially dangerous group of photosynthetic bacteria that has Hardy Lake and 7 other lakes across the state under an advisory. While the presence of blue-green algae poses a risk, it's one that those at Hardy Lake are getting used to.
And we see it come up usually about every summer here within the past 3 or 4 years, right along the time the heat comes.
The algae is chiefly created from excess nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen, but human-caused nutrient runoff of blue-green algal bloom catalyzers like excess lawn or agricultural fertilizer can also contribute to the problem.
Any kind of plant that grows in the water is encouraged to grow by nutrients in the water. So when there's an influx of the nutrients that algae needs to grow into the water, the number of cells are going to increase and it's going to grow.
The bacteria isn't hurting attendance. The number of visitors using the recreational area for day use is actually up overall.
Fishermen, swimmers, they're still doing their thing.
Still, Henry says the park receives questions about the blooms.
Just basic questions. They're like, so we're good to go with the water? Yep, you're good to go. That's basically their main concern.
Under the advisory, pets are barred from the lake because of their increased susceptibility to harmful blue-green algae toxins. It's safe for humans to go boating and swimming, although Henry always advises visitors to shower following their day at the lake and avoid digesting any of the water. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brad Davis.
Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk.
There are low-head dams like this one scattered across Indiana's waterways. Up next, why you should stay away from them, but that doesn't mean stay out of the water.
And in this week's headlines, the latest from around the state. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
We are a nation of explorers. We seek new ways of living, of thinking, and of expressing ourselves. We take risks, we learn from experience, and we keep moving forward. That's why we encourage and celebrate the explorer in all of us.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Over the past month, several kayakers have been sucked into what are known as low-head dams on Indiana's waterways. First responders rescued some, but others lost their lives. Lindsay Wright joins us now to tell us about the hidden dangers of the man-made structures.
Joe, low-head dams are not new to Indiana waterways, and neither are the dangers they present. Most were put in place around 100 years ago, and while they can look relatively tame, state officials are trying to send a strong message. Don't go near a low-head dam. Ron Lewis is the general manager of Rusted Moon Outfitters, an outdoor sporting goods store in Broad Ripple. He's been active in water paddling sports for more than 40 years, so he knows what he's doing.
Their seat back's height adjustable, and I don't care. I want to slam it to the bottom and break off the knob.
But Lewis is frustrated, and that frustration comes from here. This is a low-head dam. They're man-made structures put in place across the state around a century ago and for various reasons, like to power a mill. But some are still being used today to create water supply, and they can be deceiving.
They look so simple, they look so innocent, but the physics are so strong.
There are around 150 of these dams across Indiana, but Lewis's frustration isn't directed at the dams, it's the people coming into contact with them. He says people using the rivers need to be better prepared. The drop-offs on the dams can be rather small, some just about a foot or so. But when a kayaker, swimmer, or fisher gets caught in one, the result can be deadly.
The water will push them down. Because we're buoyant, we will come off the bottom, we'll come right back up in that backwash, and it's just almost like a washing machine bringing you back a circle. It will trap anything in that. That's the dangers of a low-head dam.
According to the Indiana Department of Homeland Security, at least 28 people have died in Indiana in the last 20 years due to a low-head dam. Captain Bill Brown with the DNR says more than a third of deaths are people trying to rescue someone.
If you see someone here and you don't understand the boil or the backwash, and you go, oh my goodness, they're stuck, and you think, I'm going to swim out there and get them, you become a victim yourself, caught up in something you can't escape.
Brown says it's a throwing rescue only. This is a throw bag, and you can get them at most sporting goods stores. You throw the bag over the victim's shoulder, grasp the rope, all while yelling,
over your shoulder! Lay on your back! Kick, 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 kick! That's what you're doing.
The message to keep your distance from low-head dams is not new. Low-head dams like this one on the White River have had safety mechanisms installed to prevent the intense churning of water. Some have even been broken up and removed, but that's costly. Marty Benson, the DNR's Assistant Director of Communications, says another option would be to install more warning signs, but that presents its own challenges. Like, what should they say?
As far as signs, where do you put the sign? Once you get into the current of a low-head dam, it's too late to turn around. So do you put it way upstream?
Overall, officials agree that those interested in using Indiana's waterways need to be aware of low-head dam dangers through research and education.
Be careful, be smart, have a plan when you go into the water, and if the water is high and dangerous, don't go in it and stay away from a low-head dam at any cost because it could be your last trip.
And Lewis couldn't agree more. He says some of the fatal drownings could have been prevented. But he also has another important message for the public.
This isn't something we shouldn't do. This is just one other safety rule. Wear a life jacket. Be sober. Paddle with experience. Come to a place like Rusted Moon or your local paddling shop and take a lesson, ask some questions, and learn a little something, man.
Indiana ranks 10th in the country for the number of people who have died after getting caught in a low-head dam. Experts say if you're paddling down a river, look up the route beforehand so you're prepared. And if there is a low-head dam, stop and carry your kayak around the dam. Don't try to go through it. Now for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brozier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. Two Republicans who oversaw President Donald Trump's Indiana campaign are suggesting Representative Todd Rokita would be a good candidate for Senate. Former Indiana Republican Party Chairman Rex Early and GOP operative Tony Samuel say Rokita has been an unwavering supporter of the president. Rokita hasn't formally announced he's running for Democrat Joe Donnelly's seat, but Rokita is hiring key campaign staff for an anticipated bid. Meanwhile, Indiana's 6th District U.S. Representative Luke Messer has officially thrown himself into the race. He joins a field that includes Kokomo attorney Mark Hurt, Carmel businessman Terry Henderson, and Purdue Polytechnic New Albany director Andrew Takami. In a statement, U.S. Senator Joe Donnelly says he's the only candidate with a proven record of bipartisanship. A new registry is open that allows Hoosiers with epilepsy to obtain CBD oil, a medicinal form of cannabis that can be used to treat seizures. Myra Mearshon has a child with epilepsy and has been advocating for CBD oil legislation for years.
It's kind of heartbreaking to know that we've never met our real son. I mean, we've never met our son without drugs.
A law Governor Eric Holcomb signed this past legislative session charged the Indiana State Department of Health with creating the registry for individuals with epilepsy. The registry can be found on the State Department of Health's website. A federal lawsuit filed by the company previously involved in a Terre Haute sludge-to-diesel project alleges city officials participated in a pay-for-play arrangement through secret meetings involving parties in the original project. The city's attorney says the allegations lack specificity and are outrageous. Now, the filing of the most recent lawsuit comes just 2 weeks after the FBI served a search warrant at the Terre Haute Wastewater Treatment Administration building, which the city attorney says is coincidental. Bloomington city officials say several new community initiatives will improve safety and provide better resources for the city's homeless and those addicted to drugs. The new measures include continuing an increased police presence downtown and supporting the Shalom Community Center to keep its doors open on weekends.
Homelessness, hunger, addiction, and mental illness do not take days off, so we think it's important that the task force recommended 7 days a week. We're going to try it with funding for 1 year of these extended hours.
Hamilton says 176 overdoses have been reported in Bloomington this year. That outpaces the total for 2016. The UDWI Electric Co-op won't release the findings of an audit looking into the finances of the company. The board ordered the audit in response to allegations of money mismanagement and promised to make the results available in an effort to increase transparency among ratepayers, who are the owners of the co-op. Now, the first part of that audit came back at the beginning of the month, and the CEO, who had been on paid leave, was terminated. Some ratepayers accuse the board of trying to hide the audit findings to cover up for their past negligence. Meanwhile, the FBI is conducting its own investigation into the electric co-op. The Monroe County Community School Corporation School Board voted unanimously to adopt a new policy stipulating students will receive the same lunch regardless of their account balance. The change comes after the board heard nothing but opposition from the community during last month's meeting about its previous policy, which stipulated students could charge up to 3 meals before receiving an alternate meal. Critics said that policy could have negative psychological effects. The number and speed of freight trains going through downtown Columbus is expected to increase as soon as next month. That's why Mayor Jim Linup says he's thrilled the state and city were able to move forward on a $30 million State Road 46 railroad overpass.
It will take 1.5 construction seasons once it starts. And right now we're in discussion with the Department of Transportation about the start date. You know, we would like for it to start in 2019.
Meanwhile, train traffic will continue to increase to as many as 22 trains by the end of next year. Purdue will operate the only multi-county tech park in Indiana as part of a collaborative effort with Westgate Authority, Naval Service Warfare Center Crane Division, and others. The goal is to boost economic activity in a part of the state with a rural population.
We have the glorious benefit of space, right? We love it. But it's not helpful when it comes to creating tight-knit communities that support and encourage one another. That's what we're going to try to learn how to do in this kind of an environment.
An IU representative says the university expects to have an IU office at Westgate. The University of Southern Indiana is also expected to join the partnership. Governor Eric Holcomb announced LaPorte Mayor Blair Milo will become the state's first Secretary of Career Connections and Talent. Holcomb says Milo will work with state agencies, the business community, and higher education institutions with the goal of ensuring workforce development priorities are aligned to help meet future job needs.
We need to grow talent here in the state of Indiana, but we need to look outside of our border as well and try to attract talent from across the nation and indeed around the world.
The new position will oversee the state personnel department and utilize its staff as well.
All right, thank you very much, Barbara. And a quick update on Indiana's falcons. The number of peregrine falcons is on par with numbers from recent years. The DNR bans new falcon chicks every summer in order to track their growth. They banded 40 chicks this year.
What we end up doing after the banding is tracking them. So if they decide to take up territory in Indiana again, we're able to identify those individuals based off of their bands.
Hoosiers can watch the falcons with live feeds from Indianapolis, Petersburg, and Fort Wayne. Now that the falcon chicks have been banded, the DNR will focus on monitoring and tracking them as they grow into adulthood. And that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching and learning in Indiana and around the world. More at education.indiana.edu.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company. Fiber Internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members, thank you.